Exactly.
Talk to us, advocate.
So the opposite of an abundance mindset is a scarcity mindset, and this is what many people are actually struggling with. Where we're always thinking in terms of things being scarce, opportunities being scarce, everything is actually scarce. Why is it in the very same environment where people are thinking things are scarce, weekend is everywhere? That's an abundance mindset. And the point that we've always made, Weekend, is it's very important for us to learn something called mindset management. Because your mind is very, very important, Weekend. It's your greatest asset. If you don't manage it properly, if you don't use it properly, it becomes your worst enemy. This is the reason why I always give people the wisdom that Solomon says in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. He says, be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts.
As a man thinketh,
As a man thinks, in
so
his heart,
is he.
so is he. So there's actually two different verses here coming from the very same person, and is emphasizing the priority of the mind. So when the Bible's saying the heart is referring to the mind, so as he or she thinks in his mind, so is he or so is she. Meaning, if you program your mind to think scarcity, things are going to be scarce. So every day when someone wakes up, they are saying things are not happening. That's scarcity. But when you wake up every day, you say, I don't know what's happening in this day, I don't know what's out there, but I'm going to go for it. I believe the opportunities for today are going to be tremendous. You're actually training your mind to grow, stretching your mind. And one of the points that we often say, Weekend, is the human mind is a muscle. You can actually stretch it. You can actually grow it. And you can actually help your mind to take a new shape altogether. But this time, I want you to direct your mind in a direction of abundance. There's a gentleman called William James, if you read about him. This guy, at one point in time, tried to commit suicide, very unsuccessful. He was dumped in the Amazon by the team that he had gone with. They left him alone. He managed to come back. And he came up to a decision, says, guys, I'm just going to give myself 1 year. I'm going to talk positive to myself. I'm going to start treating myself differently. I'm going to start approaching life differently. I'm going to start reading things that are positive. If I do this for 1 year and my life doesn't change, I'm going to kill myself. So he gives himself this chance to do all these things. And in just 1 year, his life began to transform radically. And this guy was a struggling teenager. He was a seeking teenager, rose to become one of America's greatest psychologists, called William James. And this is what he says. He says the greatest discovery of any generation is that human beings can change the course of their life by merely altering their attitude. Meaning, the moment we learn to shift our mindset, how we think, we shift our lives. And this is the reason why people need to understand that we need to move from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset.
But for some people, the argument is, am I not being in denial and trying to run away from my reality, which is like this?
No one is coming to change your life. Simple. So we talked about excuses at one point in time, and this is the point that I want you to realize. Why I'm saying let's shift from scarcity to abundance is because we want to help each other move from where you are. So when you admit that this is what I'm going through, you've got two responsibilities. Number one, to accept things as they are. Number two, to accept the responsibility to change them.
Love that.
And the question is, what are you going to choose, Vikendi? So it's not it's not a denial, it's not a lie to say things are bad right now. You're actually telling the truth. But the question is, are you going to embrace that, or you're going to embrace the responsibility to change the status quo? Which is why this conversation is really meant for people who want to change their status quo, Vikendi. I want to move for an abundance mindset. And how do you do that? That's why I want to give people 5 key steps that I think is very important. Number one, I want people to learn to focus on what they actually have. Something as simple as that, Vikendi. You have something. And this is the point that we need to stress, Vikendi. For a long time, many people, we always have conversations around the things that we don't have.
If I had more of this, if I had more of this, if I had that.
If I was lighter. That's why people are doing dubious things with their skin.
Yes.
You are beautiful as you are. Build on that. If I was this, if I was that. I'm not saying don't improve yourself. I'm saying don't hate yourself. I'm saying learn to embrace who you are, Vikendi. I'm saying learn to enjoy your own skin, your own comfort zone. And once you begin to that, you begin to see things that you do have. So learn to focus on the things that you do actually have. And the moment you begin to understand the things that you do actually have, guess what? You realize that you're so much blessed. There's a guy called Malcolm B. Forbes, you know, Forbes magazine, the grandson to the gentleman who created that, says something very important that I think many people will need to understand. He says, too many people overestimate the value of what they don't have and underestimate the value of what they have.
Come on now.
So Vigeni, I want to wonder, but guess what? You have what's a gift that's difficult to replicate. You are a phenomenal communicator. So I want to
So work on your strengths. Let your strengths work to your advantage.
Work on your strengths. And guess what? We do all have some form of strengths. All of us. We do have some form of strengths. You know, I had the privilege of seeing Mayim Togozi this past Saturday, and it drew me to think about the legendary Dr. Oliver Mtogozi. Imagine if he had lived his life complaining that I don't have a PhD in law, I don't have a PhD in medicine, I don't have this, ignoring one instrument that he was so good at, his guitar. It is that one instrument that made him travel globally because he understood the value of what he had. And guess what? He left a legacy that is going to be very difficult, very impossible to ignore, including many people who are actually born after him. They're still going to be listening to his music. Why? He was able to identify what he had, and he was able to discover, develop that, master it. And which is why we need to help people to take time to learn to count their blessings. Count your blessings. And once you count your blessings, it will radically change your life. And I want to take you to a country which is smaller than Zimbabwe. So this is what happened. In the midst of a desert, they saw one tree that was growing. And people were so shocked. What's happening with this particular tree? Why is this tree growing in the midst of the desert? They contracted a borehole company to drill. They couldn't find water. They did everything until they got a water engineer. And they did their research. And they realized one thing. That this particular tree, where it was sitting on a pipe that was sending water to this city. But apparently that pipe had a small leak. It's that small leak that was feeding this tree to become a very huge tree. And that discovery gave birth to something called drip
Irrigation. Oh, wow.
That water engineer went on to create a company in the 1960s called Netafin. One of the biggest companies. It's also operational in Zimbabwe, their products. Those guys were able to say, okay, we are in the desert, but this is something that we have. And guess what? Israel now is very strong in terms of technology. That's their strength. And in terms of what they produce in agriculture, they do produce more than what some countries with arable land do produce. By being able to understand what they do have. Building what they do have. This is a question that I'm asking everyone who is listening to us today. Unei.
Hansi, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree,
Exactly.
it will live its whole life thinking that it's stupid and it's not able to do anything.
Exactly.
Because it's supposed to swim.
True. So
Yes.
embrace the fact that you're a fish. Become the best. If you're a tree climber, embrace that fact.
Come on.
Climb those trees. So find your space. So the greatest mistake many people make is, number one, you don't even know yourself. Number two, you are even comfortable with the fact that you don't even know yourself. Number three, you don't even care. Number four, you are even willing to die without even discovering yourself. And this is the reason why I need to help many people. The things that you're going to change your life, Vikendi, they're not very far away from you. They are one discovery from you. This is the reason why I encourage people to discover yourself. And once you discover yourself, the world is going to discover you, and the world is going to pay you to be you.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you know a gentleman called Jah Prayzah? You've interviewed him several times. The world is looking for him because he looked for himself.
Yes.
That's why they charge what they charge.
He didn't despise his sound.
He didn't.
He was like, "That. This is me."
Exactly. So look at his videos before he became who he is now. You see passion, you see persistence, you see consistency. And guess what? It changes life. I know someone who used to be an announcer on my shop, announcer on my shops. Later on, they became a very respected DJ, building on what you have. So if you want to be an abundance mindset person, build on what you have. And it requires all of us to actually focus on what you have. So stop glorifying what you don't have. Weekend, you've got an amazing family, build on that. You've got a loving partner, build on that. You've got someone who wakes up when you checks up on you, build on that. You've got someone who says, what I say, build on that. Hey, hey, what you focus on grows. What you neglect dies. That's the law of life. Step number 1, focus on what you have. Number 2, I want you to surround yourself with people that have an abundance mindset. The power of associations. The power of associations. I want you to get that level where you begin to embrace that reality that the people that you keep in your circle, they're very important. Who are you keeping in your circle, Weekend? Are you complaining yourself with whiners? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are constantly complaining about what they don't have? Or you're surrounding yourself with Weekend with people who are helping you see what you do have. In the moment you surround yourself with such people, guess what? There's something called energy transfer. That's why every morning I don't want to open draining messages. I want to preserve my energy. When I sleep, I don't want to open draining messages. I want to value my sleep. Surround yourself, Weekend, with people who make your baby leap. You know what happened when Mary met Elizabeth?
Yes.
Some baby leapt.
Come on.
You need those people, Weekend.
Who awaken what's inside of
what
you.
is inside you. They don't destroy it. They don't kill it. And once you get to that level, that understanding that you need those people, you begin very intentional, become very intentional about that. Why? Because you surround yourself with people who talk abundance. You surround yourself with people who talk abundance. You begin to normalize abundance. You surround yourself with people who talk lack. You begin to experience lack. I want you to notice for a moment, Weekend. You've ever noticed one thing? The people who are successful. You have seen people who are successful. Look at people out of the CMB, people out of car parts and so forth. They're usually an association. It's a small network of people.
Yes, true.
They're 5, they're 6, they're 10. They're groupings. They've got a WhatsApp group. Farmers, they've got a WhatsApp group. Pork, chicken, whatever. They've got a WhatsApp group. Why? They're sharing experiences, sharing ideas. I'm looking for the next market. I'm looking for the next opportunity. I'm looking for the next door. What is the importance of that? Is to grow and nurture abundance. But see, the moment you wake up every day, Vikendi, and you're always talking the same things about the market being down, business going down, guess what? You will actually go down. So what I want to encourage people is leave the people who enjoy pity parties.
Yes.
The people, Vikendi, who thrive on being felt sorry for. Are you with me? There are people who thrive on
getting
being told
sympathy
every time, the people enjoy that. But I want you to normalize running away from toxicity. I want you to normalize running away from pity. And I want you to normalize running to people who stretch you. And I want you to normalize being in places, in atmosphere, where your capacity to grow is even challenged, and where you're constantly reminded that you're able to grow. Abundance becomes normal. And what I want you to do is to help people make an abundance mindset a default. And once you make an abundance mindset a default, even if you don't have a single dollar in the pocket, is the mindset that creates money for you. It's the mindset that gives you the energy to say, okay, today, what are our goals? We are going to hunt. How are we going to do it? It's the mindset that is going to keep you. It's the mindset that's going to sustain you. So, who is in your life? What are you constantly talking about? And once you constantly talk about abundance, guess what? You will grow. And you'll grow phenomenally in ways that will even excite you. Let's go to the third way that you can actually develop an abundance mindset. Learn to create what are called win-win situations. No one has to fail in order for you to succeed.
That's so true.
I need to repeat this. No one has to fail in order for you to succeed. The reason why people block opportunities for you is people think that there is scarcity of opportunities. The reason why when Weekend's name is mentioned for Germany and people think and not in Berlin, not in Beijing, not in Real Madrid, is because of a scarcity mindset. Once you've got an abundance mindset, you believe and you understand that there are opportunities for everyone. They may come with different names, but there are opportunities for everyone. Weekend, you've been to Europe, you've been to America, you've been to South Africa, you've been to Nama. No one was ever stopped from going to America because Weekend went to
Come
America.
on. I think you should really drive this
No one
point
was
home.
ever stopped from going to Dubai simply because Weekend flew to Dubai.
Yeah.
No one has ever stopped from going to South Africa simply because Weekend was in South Africa, or simply because Yvonne was hosting those prestigious awards.
Yes.
No one has to fail for you to succeed. The moment we understand that Weekend, you stop fighting people who are making progress in their lives. Right now, the reason why a number of us who are working to fight people who are making progress in their own lives is because we think when someone is making moves in life, they're threatening you. That is scarcity mindset. No one is threatening you. No one has to threaten you as a
The
matter of
blessings
fact.
are enough. The opportunities
It's
are enough.
for everyone.
Yeah, and you address it with Zikano.
Exactly. It's enough for everyone. So if Weekend builds one house, that should not threaten you.
Yes.
There's plenty land. Zimbabwe is over 300 something thousand square kilometers.
I think it's witchcraft, yeah.
Witchcraft. We did a talk about witchcraft some other point in time. So I want us to get to that point, to that reality, Vikendi, where we realize that rather than to fight to put people down, let's work on ensuring that we go and rise together. If I can create an opportunity for Vikendi, glory be to God. If I can be given an opportunity where if my speech is going to make a difference on whether or not an opportunity is going to come to Vikendi, be an instrument that creates opportunities for other people, especially in their absence.
And the same will happen for you.
Exactly.
The same will happen for you.
These are laws that God has put in place. Vikendi, whatever you sow, you will reap. But you see, a number of times, many people, we wake up every day and our role is simply to block. Are you with me? This is why some people right now are just waking up. Put a moment to just say no. Right now, there's a perfume. No, Weekend no. Chakati no. Chakati, don't be a no person. Equally become a nonsense person.
Advocate.
Do you know why I'm speaking like this? Because there's someone who is listening to us right now. You're driving wherever. Iwe wanaruche manewo every day. Because urungoti no. Munhu aitodhora akirona mchinje life yake. Urungoti no. He anozotiya pabasa. So what? Musiaende. Maybe God has just called you to usher that person to that level. And I want you to realize one thing. God has not called you to keep people. God has called you to facilitate growth for people. Which growth means sometimes people have to leave you. But it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means you're a greater person. It's only great people who are secure enough to empower other people. If you can empower a person, especially when they've not asked for it, you are a real great person. In fact, that makes you a leader. So for every person in a leadership position right now, business leadership, organizational leadership, I want you to look at how life has changed for the people that you're leading. That's what makes you a great leader. Why? Because you are looking for opportunities that result in win-win situations.
Yes.
Law number 4, I want you to learn to incorporate gratitude in your daily life. And number 5, I want you to learn to train your mind to recognize possibilities and opportunities. We'll talk about that later on, Vikendi. I hope you're inspired.
The depth, Advocate Arthur Marara.
Thank you so much. It's been a great honor.
We appreciate you so much.
God bless you.
Yeah, you are a necessity in our lives. How can people get in touch with you?
I'm on WhatsApp 078 05152 Join our WhatsApp groups where you post almost daily. You can also follow me on social media, and you can also get information on my books on those platforms.
Thank you
great
so
talking
much.
to you.
Wonderful.
Bless you.
Wow. It is Star FM sounding good all the time. The Morning Galaxy. Check your time with mine. 10 o'clock time for the news.